Welcome to my little corner. And I thought it would be fun to do like a little series to celebrate my upcoming release that's coming at the end of October, to learn a little bit more about me, my way of writing, the books that I really like, just little tidbits into my brain. So, more about me. First of all, my name is Beatrice B. Morgan. I write fantasy, a little bit of horror, not like horror, but just a smidge, just a little bit, just enough to kind of give it a little bit of spooks. I also, like, every book that I write has some kind of romantic something or other. There's a romantic interest. There's a subplot with romance. I can't write books without it. I don't really like to read books without it. I do, but like my favorite books all have just a little bit of romantic subplot in there. So for this video, I thought it would be fun to kind of dive in to my favorite tropes, the things that just make me grab a book immediately, like immediately put it in my cart, like insta-buy. Someone is either running a water or there's a jet. And there's fair likelihood of both. Anyway, so the first trope, the one that is my absolute favorite, is the one that will make me immediately look into a book to see if it's something that like the writing is good and stuff. But it's the one where like there's like a criminal character, like the sassy criminal, who somehow has to work together with like the straight-laced like paladin character. I love it. I don't know what it is about it. I love it. It's my favorite. I emulate this trope a lot because and I also really enjoy reading about this trope. Like the what is it? Throne of Glass. The assassin is trapped in the castle and has to spend time with the straight-laced what's his face captain, and also there's the sassy royal. I love it. I loved like the first 3 books in that series were absolutely my favorite. The others were good too, just not as good to me personally, in my opinion. But like my first books, not my first book series. The first book series that I would wish would be my first book series, Thief in the Castle. It has the same trope. You have the sassy thief. She is basically trapped in the castle, and she's kind of forced to help them figure out who's trying to kill the prince. And she basically has to do so with the help of the straight-laced squire. And I love that trope so much. It is my favorite. If you tell me that there's a book that has this trope in it, it is immediately going on my wish list. I love it. And like no matter how many books that I read with this trope in it, still love it. It's just, I think, the opportunity for banter between like the sassy character with like a morally gray sense of justice and like the straight-laced character who's very like whatever. In the D&D square you got like your neutral good, your good. What is that? The one where like Superman is the Superman attitude toward justice, where it's everything is by the book. Lawful good. That is what it's called. The lawful good character meets like the chaotic character, and like the banter between them, and how they have to like work together and they bond and they basically kind of rub off on each other. That's my favorite. I love it. They don't even have to be like in the romantic interest like of each other. They can just be friends. We need more books where like it's not necessarily a romance that's building, but a friendship. Like a bromance. I want one of those. Give me like a fantasy book. There's a quest. They gotta go on it. And you have the 2 bros that like are so opposing in like personality and like sense of like justice to each other, but they have to work together and they become best friends. I want that one. I want that book too. I am also very partial to sorry, there's a hair somewhere touching like this the edge of my nose, and it's just ugh. But another trope that I really, really like is the enemies to lover trope. And I know this one has been overly beaten by like book talk, incessantly so. And half of the books that are called enemies to lovers are not even remotely close. I do, however, also like rivals to lovers, where they're like the rivals at first. Like what is it called? I'm looking at it on my bookshelf. I can see the cover underneath my monitor. Divine Rivals. That book. They were rivals at first, but then they got to know each other. And it was fantastic. But I also like a good enemies to lovers, and I am of the understanding that if they are not actively trying to kill each other, they are not enemies. And I think this works better in like the fantasy sense where like you can actually, attempt to stab somebody and it's okay, within the culture. Everybody carries daggers, it's fine. Because I really don't like the like when a book is advertised as like, oh, enemies to lovers, and they're enemies for like half a chapter, like half the first chapter, and then they're just trying to get in each other's pants like the rest of the book. And I'm like, it's not, no, just no. I'm also grown quite attached to the trope of like things in the woods. Like if there's like this forest and there's things in the woods, yes. I think that's a very nice supplement to any story. Things in the woods, like, something's in the basement. No, it's in the woods. Things in the woods that move at night. And one of my favorite book series, I can see part of the cover. My brain's a little mush right now. But it's the one, there's like death powers. What is it called? The Nightshade Crown trilogy. It's that trilogy. But it also has that trope of where the main character is coerced and then trapped in the castle because they're trying to get her to help them do something. And of course, you have like the straight-laced monk, and then there's like the prince who's a little. What word am I? What word am I trying to say with this? What word does this mean? Like the party prince, I guess, the kind of that personality. Yeah, that's a really good trilogy. The Nightshade Crown trilogy. Highly recommend if you want that like fantasy with romance and plot. Definitely recommend that series. And it's finished. And I think I honestly think that so many books, a lot of the books that I've, that have been published within the past couple of years that like emulate or like they, what's the word I want, market themselves as being like these things are not always those things. And it's very frustrating. And I'm a lot pickier now than I was, say, 2 years ago when I'm buying books because I have so many books. And I've downloaded so many books onto my Kindle. And then I can't get through like the first chapter. I feel bad. I just kind of quietly delete it off my Kindle. I don't like leave a review or anything. Those tropes are the tropes that will absolutely get me to like put a book in my cart. I have tropes that I really don't like, but I feel like that's a different video. I'm trying to stay positive for this one. So those have been my favorite tropes, or the tropes that I can think of right now. I'm sure I will quit the recording and I will immediately think of a trope that I love. But anyway, those are the top tropes. Those are the things that are like, yes, I'm going to buy this book. I'm going to read this book. Yes. Stay tuned for more little windows into what it's like to be me. I don't know. Those words just came out of my mouth and I don't really like them. But, again, this is all to celebrate my latest book that is coming out the end of October. This is actually my 15th book. This is my 15th published book. So that's exciting. It's very exciting. I should be more excited. I'm trying. It's got to break through the wall of depression first. Well, stay tuned for more. When is more coming? I don't know.